As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elesmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Right, welcome everybody to episode 6 of Running the Red Line. We are back once again on Friday night, ready for this to come out on a Saturday, fingers crossed. I'm Brett and I am here with my co-host Andy. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'd like to introduce my other co-host, my massive spot on my head. Brought me mate with me.
You may have noticed that I've been wearing a hat pretty much every episode so far, and the first week was because of that exact reason. I didn't want to didn't want to have my third eye in the middle of my head showing.
Oh, it's a killer, isn't it, when you've got a massive one of these bad boys? But oh well, teenage spots anyway. So yeah, how are you doing? You all good?
Yeah, not too bad. I actually am a bit happier today because I went to the doctors today about my my hip and my glute and everything, because some people scared me a little bit, saying that where the pain had gone to, they'd have had in the past, and it had turned out to be a stress fracture in their pelvis or in their sacrum or something like that. So I wanted to go and check it out. And make sure it was all okay. So managed to get in with the doctors today, went to see a muscular and skeletal specialist, apparently. And she basically prodded around and pushed into different places and made me move into different positions and asked whether it hurt or not. And she came to the conclusion that it's not bone related, but it is what did she say? It is nerve irritation. So it's very similar to what I had on the right-hand side when I was injured in November, but it's not my piriformis causing it this time. It's just all of the glutes and everything around the left-hand side and around my hip causing nerve irritation, and that's why I'm getting pain while I'm running. So yeah.
So now you know.
Yeah, so it's good in ways because I now know it's definitely, well, I don't know it's definitely not bone, but she was pretty certain it wasn't bone related. So I've just got to now basically train through it. She's going to send me some exercises to work on, but she said it will go. But when, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Oh no, nerve. I can imagine nerve damage, or was that her word? Nerve damage.
No,
nerve
irritation.
irritation.
Yes.
Yeah,
So basically,
yeah.
every time I take a step on that leg, it's just sending pain all around my hip and on my lower back. And on Thursday, it was like taking my breath away every time I took a step when we were running easier. But it's really strange because when I'm running easy or walking, it's quite painful. As soon as you pick up the pace, it gets less painful. So
That's interesting.
Weird. Yeah.
So is it like every time you take a step, it's like an electric shock in your hip or something like that?
Yes,
sort of thing?
a little bit like that, all through my hip and through my lower back. But yeah, it is what it is. But
so you've been doing. I was going to say you've been doing like 5K, 3K pace every run this week, have you? Then it's the only pace you can run.
I did say that I'll just have to run at pace constantly, whatever I'm doing. But I did think it wasn't bone related because I mentioned it to her as well, that I've been doing ice baths, and the fact that I'm limping to the ice bath, get in the ice bath for 5 minutes, and then when I get out, I'm walking like there's no pain or no injury at all. That can't be bone related, because the bone would still hurt no matter whether it's been cold or not, but the muscle will start to recover and respond to the cold. So so fingers crossed it is just muscle and nerve related, and I can run through it and carry on my training.
Oh, good. So where are you at the moment then? You're up. We sort of started the same sort of week. So are you in about week 6?
Week 6 I'm on now, yeah.
Yeah. How's it?
Yes.
How's like progress looking? Have you got,
Do you know what? I am quite pleased with where I am at the moment. I have slowly been building up the mileage each week, and I'm on track this week to have my biggest mileage week of the block so far. I've decided I'm going to have a bit of an easier week next week, seeing as the end of next week is Nationals cross country. So I'm going to have an easier week as a bit of a taper to that race. But this week I'm on track to hit about 65 mile this week. So I've gradually gone up about 5 mile each week. So I'm really happy. And we've had some really hard training sessions this week, actually. Tuesday, oh man, that was a training session and a half, to be honest.
Just hilly or fast?
No,
or a bit of both, or?
fast. It was, I pushed myself more than I've pushed myself for a long time on Tuesday.
Did you wear the right shoes for this session? You didn't wear your recovery shoes?
I didn't. No, I wore the right shoes because it was rain. Well, it had been raining, and I knew it was going to rain during the session. So I put on my Takumi Sen 8, which have almost 500 mile in them. I think they've got 495 mile in them now, and I thought I'll wear those because they've still got life in them, and I know they'll be all right for a proper session. And man, if you ever want to feel good about your running, put some Takumi Sens on. Man, they felt great.
I think that little tip of you giving me get some Takumi Sen 8s might have been one of your best ever suggestions to me. Because those babies they're so, I can't explain them really. If anyone's never worn them before, I wouldn't say they're very comfortable. No, but that's not what they're not. That's not what they're built for, is it?
No.
So that I do sometimes get a little bit of an arch. I wouldn't really call it pain, but a little bit of irritation there sometimes.
Okay.
Around the arch, but apart from that, I just find them. I actually think they're faster than my Vaporflies. Like that, they feel. I mean, my Vaporflies might have maybe 100 more K in them, but I just feel. Like you say, I just feel better in them. I really like them, and they're just so light.
Well, they're for the shorter distances, all the way up to half marathon. I think they're the perfect shoe. Yes, they haven't got carbon rods in them. They have glass fiber rods rather than carbon, but just the way they respond is just amazing. All of my PBs up to half marathon. So really my only PB other that I haven't got in Takumi Sens is the marathon, which I got in the Adidas Pro 3s. But my 5K, my 10K, my half marathon is all in Takumi Sens. I just think they're amazing. They're such a great shoe to run in. But as I say, these pair of 8s, they've got nearly 500 mile in them, and I was still running really well in them. They just felt fantastic. But I'm just having a look now. We did on Tuesday a pyramid session, and it was a lamppost pyramid session on the bus route. So instead of specific distances, we were using lampposts as markers for the distance that we ran out. And the pyramid session worked that we ran out to one, like the first lamppost. Then we had recovery for a lamppost, turn around and ran back for 2, the distance of 2 lampposts. And then the next rep was run out for 2, recovery for 1, back for 3. And then out for 3, recovery for 1, back for 4, all the way up until we went out for 8 lampposts, and then came back for 7, and then went out for 7, back for 6, all the way back down to 1.
Wow.
But
Did you lose the ability to count by the last one?
It was a bit of maths whilst running. Yeah, running maths. But
Did you feel like Carol Vorderman?
But we managed to do it all right, actually. And I think I'm trying to find where's our longest rep. Where would it be? So our longest rep would have been where are we? Oh man, this is brilliant radio, isn't it? Me looking through through Strava, trying to look for the longest reps. So I think our longest rep was about 0.2 of a mile.
Right. So that's 8 lampposts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
and
in this 300-400 meters, something like that.
Yes, something like that. Yeah. And then rep wise, I was anywhere between. So I started off a bit easier, and I was running like 6-minute mile pace for the reps, but then I got down to just below 5-minute mile pace for one of them.
Nice.
So
I bet you must have been happy with that.
Yeah, I was very happy with paces. And yeah, it just felt good to really put some effort into a session, because I haven't done that for a long time, because obviously injuries and everything. But yeah, it just felt great to be running, number one, in those shoes, and number two, really pushing myself, hitting that lactic during a session. I know it's horrible, but there's some points where it just feels good because you've actually put the work in.
I like that. I did a couple of tasty sessions this week, or one anyway. I did intervals yesterday for the first time, actually, this marathon block. And because I've done that, I wouldn't say purposefully, but that's just sort of the way it's fallen. But when this Monday started, I knew, right, recovery week was last week. I'm going to have 4 good solid build weeks this week before I have another recovery week. And then I look to do peaks before the taper. And so, yeah, I was really, really keen to do a bit of speed work. So I did 10 by 100, 10 by 200, sorry.
Oh, okay,
so,
nice.
And I was just trying to hit, interval pace really, which for me is faster than sub 25k. So in Ks, I was trying to hit somewhere between 3:45 and 4 minutes. So what's that, 6 and 6:25s or something like that? Is it?
Hang on. So
maybe not 6.
4-minute kilometer is 6:27.
Yeah, so somewhere in that sort of ballpark, 6:10,
Nice.
And a few of them I was. I don't know if you do the same, but I always like to not take the first few reps a bit easier. Maybe it's my body saying, whoa, hang on, what we doing? I don't know. It could be a bit of that. But I was looking at the data, and they're already 200, so they were over before they'd started. They're only 40, 45 seconds long. But I was looking back at the data.
Tell that to a 200-meter runner.
Yeah, I know, yeah. That 200 probably
over before it started.
Yeah. They probably feel like it's a marathon, don't they? But looking at the data, my last reps were my fastest, which I was quite happy with.
Nice.
And the day before that, sorry, go on.
What sort of pace were you getting on those last few reps?
I was doing 3:40, 3:39s, 3:40s.
Nice.
So it's pretty much not far off my sort of sprint finish kind of pace. And it was about 42, 43 seconds for that, for the 200. So it's not exactly lightning pace, not setting the world on fire, but I'm kind of operating above my pay grade a bit, because that's a lot faster than I usually run.
Yeah.
And the day before that, I did a really, this is another thing I forgot to write down. #Strava wanker. I was a Strava wanker on Wednesday, because I did a session and I deliberately didn't put my cool down and warm up in, because I didn't want to spoil my nice little pretty little graph.
See,
because I was going to say my session was basically a progression. So and I was hitting these paces, and I was thinking, this is going too well. And I looked back at what was ultimately the session, and I was going to do a 2K cool down, and I'd hit it bang on the last rep, and I got this perfect sexy staircase of, you know, progressing splits. And I thought, no way can I put 2 easy Ks in now. I'm stopping the workout, and I'm starting a new one to do my cool down.
See, I don't think that's too much of a bad thing. See, do you always, in your workouts on like whatever you're tracking them on, do you always put your warm up and warm down onto the same thing?
Yeah, I almost always start the workout and finish the workout, and everything that happened within that workout was one logged activity, if you know what I mean.
See, yeah, mine. If that makes you, a Strava. That I am that all the time, because every single training session will always put my warm up and my warm down separate to the session. I want to know what run for the actual session rather than everything together.
Well, it's good to see that data, isn't it? It's good to see exactly what, you know, what you did and that sort of thing, and it keeps everything separate, doesn't it? It's a bit like separating your pants and your socks. You don't want to put it all together. You got to separate all those different things, and you're not going to put your your t-shirts in with your socks, are you? So you got to get everything all separated.
Exactly. Talking of training, though, you will be very proud of me this week, because I have, and it should actually. What time is it? 8:15. It should have gone live 15 minutes ago.
No.
Yeah.
Right. I'll see you in half an hour. I'm just gonna. Have you released a video?
Finally, yes. Week 1 of my training is now up.
I can't believe I'm literally going to be the last person to see this. Right. Awesome.
So yeah, hopefully I can keep this momentum going and get back up to date. But
it's good, isn't it? It's good. I know it's a lot of extra work, and I have this kind of fighting myself every time I come to do a marathon or a race or whatever. Should I do a training series? It's a lot of hard work, and but it's good, isn't it? It's good. It keeps it accountable. I know it's a buzzword for 2024, but and also you've got it to look back on as well. Like you've got you've got the progression there, and
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's documenting what we've done, and we're not necessarily putting stuff online to show people how to do things. That's not what I'm doing, and I'm pretty sure that's not why you're putting videos onto YouTube. We're not here as guidance for people or instructors for people. I'm not a coach. You're not a coach. We're not here to give advice on how you should run a marathon or how you should train for a marathon. That's not our point. We're here to show people what we do, and we're just documenting our journey from one place to another.
I on that point, I wouldn't say. I mean, a few people have asked me like why I do it, and if I'm being really brutally honest, a lot of people would get asked that question and say, "Well, I do it to try and inspire and motivate people," and that. I don't do it for that reason. I do it for myself and myself only, and I know to be true to myself to do that, because as soon as it becomes about other people, then you start producing either bad content, or you kind of start going along a path that you don't want to go down. And before you know it, you don't even recognize who you are anymore, because you're starting doing, I don't know, let's just say you're not a shoe reviewer like me. All of a sudden, I'm putting out shoe reviews, and everyone's like, "Why is Andy doing a shoe review? He never does them. Let's just go and watch Ed Budd. Let's just go and watch, someone else. Let's go and watch someone who knows what they're talking about." And what I'm doing is I'm just regurgitating stuff that I've probably learned from Ed Budd's channel, and I'm just saying it on my channel for clicks. That's basically what the way it could go. And I have to. You have to play to your strengths, and my strengths are, like you, I'm a storyteller. I'm a bit of a. I haven't got many other strengths when it comes to this sport, because there's a hell of a lot I don't know about it. So all I can do, just like you've exactly just said, we document. That's what we do. We approach it as if it were our own film, our own story of our life, and that's why we do it. And I think it's well, I wouldn't say it's the best way to do it, because Ed Budd probably doesn't want to do week-long videos of his training, because he prefers doing the running shoe stuff.
Yeah.
And he's good at that. He's the best at it.
He is.
That's why he does that. And if you don't know who Ed Budd is, you've obviously never searched for any shoes online. He's probably the go-to guy, isn't he? Would you say, for running shoe reviewers?
Yeah. In the UK, I would say yes. He is the number one shoe reviewer, or shoe tuber, like he likes to call himself.
Yeah, and that's exactly how. And I don't want to sound like I'm having a go at anyone that's got a YouTube channel, but for as far as I'm concerned, I just like to play to my own strengths, and those strengths are being honest. And that's one thing I always try and guarantee, is that I'll try and be honest. Sometimes I'm a bit too honest, and I open myself up to a lot of criticism, and I've had a lot of criticism in the comment section of my videos, and sometimes resulted in me getting a bit defensive. That's another story for another time. But you open yourself up for criticism, but we're standing on that pedestal, so we've got to expect it.
Yeah.
But
see, this is the thing. We're documenting our journey and putting our story out there. So, because we're putting it into the public domain, then people can comment on it. It's
absolutely.
It's not like we're going to put it out there and say nobody say anything. Nobody can have an opinion on this. The whole point
turn the comments off.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Everybody's going to have an opinion, and you can have an opinion, and you can think what you like. But the whole reason I do it is because I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy documenting what I do. And I like having it there as something to look back on. I mean, running a sub-3 last year was a massive thing for me, and a really big part of my running, I'm not going to say career, but my running time as a runner. And to have that and the whole run up to it there for me to have a look at any point and go back to and reminisce is amazing. I bet there's loads of people out there that wish they had that sort of thing to look back on and see all of their achievements. And I just love having that. People might not like it, but I'm not necessarily putting it out there for other people. I'm putting it out for myself first and foremost. And then if people like what I'm doing, that's a massive bonus. And it's amazing that people can take enjoyment out of what I'm doing to enjoy myself too.
Yeah, we're not doing this for the free stuff, partly because there is none. I don't get any free stuff, but we don't do this for the kind of celebrityness of it, believe it or not. But we do it because we do it because it's fun, and it's a creative outlet. It's what I always like to describe it as. It's a hobby within a hobby, or it's a hobby on top of a hobby, because I really like shooting, editing. It's a way to put your stamp on. It's a little it's like your own little corner of the internet, isn't it? You can be whoever you want to be. You can have the style you want to have. And it's like you've got nobody telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing. So
I had something in my head then to say, and I can't remember what I was going to say.
Was that because there were some meows in the background?
Yeah. My cat completely took my attention for a second, and then I completely forgot what I was talking about. What were we talking about?
I'm just thinking about your cat. Can we see your cat?
He is, well, one of them is down here on the floor. Oh, come on, mate. Say hello. Here he is. We're going to say hello.
Wow.
Say hello.
So just to give everyone who's listening on Apple or Spotify a bit of an audio description, we're basically looking at what looks like a sort of a kung fu master as a cat. We've got what's your cat's name?
This one's called Boba.
Boba has got like these massive, like long white eyebrows, like that look like he's so wise. He's got these big long white whiskers against his black, his black. Anyway, I'll just stop talking about describing your cats now. He looks like a legend. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, YouTube is fun. I still enjoy it, and the second it stops becoming fun, I'll stop doing it. And the reason I'm doing it, I know this wasn't the point of this episode, but I do this because I used to have a photography.
Sorry, the other one's just turned up as well. So
who's this?
Hello.
Is this Misa?
Misa. Yeah, Misa.
Hi, Misa. Is that a Game of Thrones reference?
No, it's not. It's not. And a lot of people, because obviously Boba is mainly a Star Wars reference, partly because of Boba Fett, but also because he's got a moustache that looks a bit like a bow tie. So Boba, that's where his name came from. But Misa is a reference to a character in a anime called Death Note.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, exactly. But lots of people, when I say Misa, they think that it's another Star Wars reference. They think it's a Jar Jar Binks reference of Misa, love you, Annie.
See, I thought it was a Game of Thrones thing, because at one point, doesn't everyone start shouting Misa at Khaleesi when they think she's the queen or the mother or something?
Oh, I don't know.
They all say Misa, Misa. And she says, what does that mean? He said, they're calling you mother. I think it's Misa. It's been about 7 years since I've seen it, so I'm doubting that reference now. But really quickly, I was saying about the photography thing. I had a YouTube channel all about photography, and I did it as a reactive measure. I saw a lot of other people in 2015 that were doing it and taking the camera out with them. They talk about how they take a photo, and they'd make a little story out of it. So they'd go out, they'd get in the car, you'd see the boot shutting, all that sort of stuff. The coffee had be made, that sort of thing. Then they'd go up a hill and they'd take a photo of a sunrise, talk about the photo they took, and then show you the photo at the end. So that's your little thing that you've got from the video. And that's the end of the video. And that's the one thing I started doing. And then all of a sudden, I thought, I want some more views. What's everyone else doing? They're doing reviews of new cameras and new lenses and new things like that. And at the time, I actually know a lot more about photography than I do about running. And I still don't feel qualified to talk about photography online.
Yeah.
So let alone running. And I was doing, things about ways to do things. I think one of my biggest views was how to do XYZ, how to do this. And I've had more dislikes on it than likes. It's like, because some of the stuff I say in it is, I think, borderline wrong or borderline very badly articulated. And like I was saying 10 minutes ago, it's a bit like I tried to regurgitate the facts that I learned from other people, and I'd done it badly because I didn't have that. I hadn't learned that, that stuff. I'd basically seen a video and thought, I can make a video on this.
Yeah.
No one will notice that I've nicked it from that video. And I was doing, and I saw myself falling into this pattern of doing that. And I'd upload reviews of things. And it's just like, it's an unhappy way to live, because you're just constantly thinking, how can I get more views? How can I get more subscribers?
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I just gave up because I thought, I can't be bothered anymore. And my promise I made to myself was, with the running YouTube, no upload schedule. So do it when you've got time. Upload when you can. Don't do anything you're underqualified for. Don't talk about stuff that you don't really understand, and don't tell people how to do stuff, because it's transparent. You can see right through that stuff.
Yeah, and
so that's why.
Especially when you're not qualified to do that. The whole thing of running is you need to be a qualified trainer or coach to actually know what is best for someone to do in their training. Otherwise, you're going to get them injured. So telling people what they should be doing in their running is a really dangerous place to be. I mean, I'm not a qualified coach, so I'm never going to tell people what they should do in their running. I'll have conversations with people, and like I have conversations with you all the time, and we give each other advice and say what we're doing. But that's between friends. It's not like I'm putting it out into the big wide world and saying you should do this. But I mean, I'm a qualified teacher in art and design. I could talk all day about art and design and what's good design and what isn't, and things like that. But art and design is slightly opinion too, because it's whether you like a piece of art or not. And some people like it and some people don't. Whereas
Well, you've hit the nail on the head there, because art is subjective, sport is objective.
exactly, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So I could talk all day about art and design, but also it's my job in like a couple of days a week. That's what I do. I don't want my job to also be something that I do as my hobby afterwards. That sounds odd, because when they say when you make a hobby your career, it stops being a job and starts being fun. And that is 100% true with my screen printing and my print shop and my leather work, because I've taken what I really enjoy and turned it into my business. But my teaching was always, that stays at college. I teach in a college, and that's where my teaching ends. I don't want to do that as videos and things like that. So that's why I want to document when I'm having fun. And I'm having fun and I'm in my happy place when I'm out running.
Yeah. Because hobbies, at the end of the day, if this isn't a job for us, it's a hobby. And it's a hobby is something to be enjoyed. We do it because we find it fun. It gives us hope. It gives us joy. You find friendships, you can find love, you can find travel, you can find inspiration, you can inspire others. And that's the best thing about a hobby, isn't it? And it comes through. I think, I don't want to toot our own horns here, but I think it comes through with us. We don't feel like it doesn't feel forced with us to. I feel like the stuff that we put out there is good, honest stuff. Well, honest stuff. Don't know if it's good or not. And I'm talking like we've got 1 million subscribers each. You know, we've only got really a handful in comparison. But
that's the other thing I was going to say. I've remembered what I was going to say earlier. And as you were saying, like, we don't get paid for doing this. I mean, you're at the point where your channel is monetized, but you earn very little from the views that you're getting. It's not like you can afford a coffee at the end of the month, probably, from the amount of things and stuff. But
have a guess, right? So I have just earned over. So looking at my YouTube analytics, I can't bother to pull them up now. I started monetizing November 2022. If anyone watches my channel, I did the Worcestershire Way, and I did when I got lost. Well, I got lost on all my ultras, but it was the first one I did, and that was the first ever video I monetized. And from that date, how much money do you think I've earned? It might be more than you think. 2022.
Since November 22.
So it's about 15 months. Yeah, 14, 15 months.
I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess, because I haven't got a clue.
£1,000. So 1,000. So I don't know if that's more or less than you were thinking, but bear in mind, for a lot of people, you might think, oh, that's not a bad little earner. And it isn't. £1,000 quite good for doing something you really enjoy. But when you start to add money into it, I put on average, when I take into account the running that I do and planning, editing, each video has taken me on average 6 hours, I'd say.
Yeah.
So when I add all those hours together, which isn't far off the average daily, what person would do for a job. Obviously, I don't sit down for 6 hours. I edit across the week, 2 or 3 days, a couple of hours at a time. But £1,000 for 6 hours a day, that's not a very good return.
Over 18 months, no.
Yeah, over 18 months. So, yeah, it's not as much as you might think. But what I'm going to do with that money, when I finally work out how to put it into my account, because it's in some sort of American bank account in Google head office at the moment, I'm either going to buy, I'm going to buy something to do with the channel. So I might buy a drone, or I might buy a treadmill. I don't know. I might buy something to do with, I might put the money back into the channel.
Yeah.
Somehow.
See, that's the thing. That's the other thing you've got to take into consideration is not just your time, but how much was your camera? How much was your computer to do the editing? How much was the software to do the editing? So it's not like and I haven't even reached the monetization stage of the YouTube channel yet. So absolutely everything I do for free. And I've had grief off people in comments saying how bad my upload schedule is, and I take ages to upload videos. And I'm like, hang on, I work 2 jobs trying to run a business and make YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos I earn nothing out of. So what am I going to prioritize?
Exactly. You've got to never, ever let go of what matters most. And what, running, I love it, but it's third on the chain behind family, behind work, and then there's running. That's where it lies for me. And I know it's probably this. Well, it's the same for you. Maybe it's even further down. I don't know. But for me, those 2 things have to come first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, once the bills are paid and the roof over my head is secure each month, that's when I can worry about doing things for free and putting some entertainment out there into the world that people can consume for free.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the way it is. But I'm well behind with my videos, but I don't really care because, as I say, I'm putting them out for me more than anything else.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well with and this is going to sound like I'm having a go at my audience now, but they are consuming this for nothing, for zero. And a lot of people, I think, start to feel like they have a say in what you should or shouldn't be doing, in a direction you should be going. And you feel like saying, mate, you're just a random person off the internet. I ain't got a clue who you are. You don't know who I am. You only know a digital Black Mirror style version of me. You only know the little, the little version of me, let's face it, that I choose to let you see, because that's sort of influencer culture, isn't it? That I'm only showing you the bits of my life, what I want you to see. So you think, oh, yeah, I could give him some tips and tricks. And I know what will sort him out. Or and it doesn't, doesn't. That's probably why I might come across a bit defensive sometimes when someone has a go at me. But yeah.
I have noticed that you do take comments to heart sometimes, and I've sent several messages to you where I just say, just ignore them and laugh. I read bad comments about mine sometimes, and it just makes me chuckle because there is people taking time out of their day to write a bad comment on my video, and I'm like, you're wasting your time because it's not going to affect me in any way. And number 2, thank you very much. I'll take the view and I'll take the hit to the algorithm. Thank you very much.
That's, you've really helped me out. On that note, though, I think it's part of your DNA, isn't it? It depends. It depends, doesn't it? Because I'm quite a sensitive soul at the end of the day, and a comment that is I do take things to heart. And when someone I think Ricky Gervais says this in a lot of his stand-ups, or one of his podcasts early in the day, he said he loves it when people say, "Don't take this the wrong way." And he's like, well, no, don't tell me how to take something when you're about to say something probably awful. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. It's like, you can't tell someone how to behave or react, especially react, because at the end of the day, comments, I've never really officially been trolled on my appearance, but on the things I say and do, yes, I do get taken to task quite a bit on that. But yeah, sometimes comments do get to me, but that's part and parcel. But that's like, that goes back to what I was saying a bit earlier about maybe being a bit too honest, and I let my audience really into my, my personal life because I am a bit too honest. So of course, people are going to have thoughts and feelings on that, and that's, for example, if I'm ill, and I tell everyone I'm ill, I go out for a run or something like that. I don't know. It's like I wanted to go out for a run, and it's like.
But that's the opposite, though, of so you get influencers thinking that they are trainers and telling people how to train, but then you get the armchair coaches as well who will tell us how to train, and you shouldn't be doing that, or that's a very silly thing to do. People could watch you and get ideas from what you're doing, and you're influential to others, and other people look up to you. But we're documenting what we do. At no point have we said do what we do. That's not what our videos are for. It's entertainment. Would you watch, I don't know, a film and go, oh, you shouldn't be showing that in the film because it might influence people to do things in particular ways? No, it's the whole point of it is to show what we're doing.
Yeah,
to be entertainment.
You shouldn't do exorcisms. That can relate. That can be really dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Well, don't you've just watched The Exorcist, that sort of thing.
Is that the first film that came into your head?
Yeah, I should have gone with something a bit less. You shouldn't crash into icebergs if you're a captain of a cruise ship.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just hindsight, isn't it? Everyone loves hindsight. But like, I don't know what's happened there. But like, I think we seem to mention Will, don't we? Every single podcast. But Will Fu said something had gone down with a video he'd put out recently, and it just shows that it doesn't matter how big or small your channel is. We all get, everyone kind of has a pop, don't they? Everyone, it doesn't matter how, if you've got 100,000 subscribers or 100 people love to have a go.
It's the same as anything, though, isn't it? People sit in their armchair and go, oh, that looks easy. They watch a game show and they're screaming the answers to the questions on the TV and going, are you stupid? What the hell did you pick that one for? But in that situation, that it's very different, and you are the expert whilst you sat in your chair watching the TV. But the people who are telling you that you shouldn't be doing that are the people who don't even run.
Yeah,
it's mental.
Yeah, and it's a funny old. I mean, looking at the positive because we probably sounded a bit moany now. The positive of doing what we do with our with our running is the community, isn't it? It's meeting people. Don't you ever see, like, when you go to a race and someone comes up to you and they just say those few little words, oh, I really like your channel, mate. And it's like, oh, that genuinely is like the nicest compliment you can give me. It's really nice. Even if you're lying through your teeth, I'll take it. Yeah. Because it's just that when people I've got people I know, I think, really quite well, who I've never actually met in person.
Yeah. Through
my YouTube channel. I've made really good friends through the YouTube channel. We've essentially, I know we know each other through, different, lifetimes ago, but we've met through the YouTube channel, haven't we? Yours or mine or both. And it's how I've made probably the most friends in my life is this YouTube channel. So it's an amazing thing. I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah.
And I hope it carries on.
That thing you were saying of people coming up and saying really like the channel, it is such a great feeling knowing that you're putting stuff out there that people enjoy, and the fact that people want to watch it. That's amazing. But I find it the best when you're in the middle of a race or in the middle of a run, and somebody you either run past or run past you and goes, really like the channel, mate, as they're going past you, or you're going past them. It's brilliant. It makes it gives you a burst of energy and makes
it
does.
It really does. It's such a bizarre feeling, isn't it? And because in their head, they're probably like, well, I know exactly, I know their dog's name, and I know, I know all the marathons
Yeah.
I know what marathons they've PB'd at, and they're going for a sub-3 this year. And it's like, wow, I can't believe I've said all this stuff, really, and all these folk remember it, and it's amazing. So yeah, keep doing it if you ever do it. It makes us feel really really good, really famous.
I don't know about famous, but
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about famous. But I've just looked at the clock, mate.
As if
I've not even got 44 minutes. Hang on, I'm about to cough. I haven't even mentioned any of the notes I've written.
No,
So
yeah,
there's one item. I think you're the same as me. We'll leave that to the end. But the three of the four things that I've got written down are: I've put plateau ? Bourton on the water 10K. Do I enter? And cleaning your shoes. So we'll start with cleaning your shoes. Today, I looked at my shoes that I've just been stacking in my porch, and they're an absolute shambles, absolute winter shambles. Every run I seem to have done recently has just been a muddy one. So even my fast shoes, like my Vaporflies or the Takumi Sen 8s, covered in mud. It's just completely caked in mud. So I thought, right, I'm gonna do them all. And then Laura said, "Can you do mine as well?" I was like, "Oh, sorry." So I've literally got about 40 pairs of shoes on the patio, and I started using something I bought this for about 15 or 20 quid last year, called a boot buddy, which is like
I've seen
you
those,
fill it up put the cap on, and then you can sort of like unscrew the actual brush, and warm water will come out, and it will really help you out. But I did it, and it broke, and I was like, oh dear. Fortunately for the dog, we bought something a while ago called a Mud Daddy, which is designed for like dirty and wet dogs. And before you get them in the car, or whatever you do, you have to sort of pump the water from what looks like a jerry can, and then it goes into like a shower head. I mean, it's a pretty decent thing. I bought this for Laura for Christmas. It's about 80 quid. It wasn't cheap. And we haven't used it. And I thought I could have a go on the shoes on this. And I used it, and it was phenomenal. It was brilliant. So it's controversial, but I put warm kitchen sink water in there, but I put a bit of Fairy Up liquid in there, which I know not a lot of people would do. But these shoes, honestly, were so dirty. I just think warm water wouldn't have shifted a lot of this mud. So I had like another bowl as like a rinse, a brush with a rinse bowl. And then so I managed to get all my shoes done. Do you know how long it took me? An hour and 15 minutes to do all these shoes.
I know you said about 40 pairs, but how many pairs were there?
So there were, I will drop them into conversation now. There were my Vaporflies, Takumi Sen 8s, my pink Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s, my Nike Peg Trail 4s, Gore-Tex, my Reebok Trails, my old Reebok Trails, which I don't wear anymore, my Reebok Road shoes, my there's got to be one more, my Nike Invincibles, that's 8 pairs, and my Asics Nova Blast 3s, that's 9 pairs, and I'm probably forgetting one as well. There's probably a Nike and Adidas. Oh, my Adidas Pro 3s, which are only worn a handful of times. They didn't even need a wash, but they look amazingly so good. They look so sexy now they're done. And out of the lot of them, the Adidas are the clear winners. They clean really nicely. The uppers on the Vaporflies still look dirty, and I don't know if that's because I use too much water. The Reeboks look all right. The Sauconys look really good. But yeah, the Nikes don't really seem to hold the wet water too well, so they look really sort of dank and dirty. And then I did 4 of Laura's pairs as well, so I did 13 pairs.
So do you never wash shoes when you get back from a run?
No, mate. I'm a lazy bar steward, and I know I should. What I should do is take this Mud Daddy in the boot with me So I finish a park run, and then I should do them before I get in the car, and then wear my sliders home. But I don't. I get off. I get the shoes off, put them in the porch, and leave them. And I'll wear dirty shoes tomorrow or the day after. So I know that's probably, like we were just saying, I'm opening myself up to criticism, and a lot of people will probably absolutely hound me for that. But no, and I know that is basically, that's like running shoe cancer, really, isn't it? If you're not looking after your shoes, and I know that.
Yeah.
And I need to stay on top of that.
I've got into the habit of cleaning shoes. If they get dirty on a run, I clean them as soon as I get back from the run, and leave them to dry. Especially cross country spikes, because they get absolutely plastered in mud. So if you don't clean them straight away, this is one of the things with like mud on shoes and stuff, because the mud dries on it and pulls it all together. It then makes the fabric a bit more fragile and a bit more stiff, so they tear really easily.
Right.
So if you're not keeping your shoes, the uppers can tear really easily from being covered and caked in mud.
I've got a tear in one of my my trail shoes, my Reebok ones. Mind you, they're only 50 quid, so I don't really mind. Yeah. But having said that, those Reebok trails that I've got, I like them so much I bought a second pair. And a guarantee, there's almost a guarantee that if you go on the Reebok website, there's almost always something like 25% off the marked sale price. So I got these like 80 quid shoes for about 38 quid. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold.
Oh, you've got all Barry White.
I have, haven't I? Bloody hell! Oh God, I'm back. But yeah, so those Reeboks have got a tear in them, and I think you're right. God, listen to me. I bet everyone's like, "Thank God we can end the podcast after only 15 minutes." But no, we've still got Brett's end of the podcast quiz at the end of the podcast to look forward to. But yeah, so maybe that's because I wasn't looking after those trail shoes. Yeah. You're gonna have to do the talking, mate. I literally can't talk. I'm gonna have to about 14 gallons of water. Hang on.
I was gonna mention about my shoes, actually. The fact that I do wash them pretty much. If they need washing, a lot of the time they don't really need washing, but I will always wash the side of the midsole and just get any dirt off the top of the shoe if I need to. But the other thing I was going to ask you is, where do you store your shoes? So like
porch.
You said, so in your porch, are they just on a shoe rack, or are they just in a pile? Or
so they're on there's a shoe rack, but the problem is with the porch, for the winter, obviously it gets quite cold because there's no radiator in there. So, and if a burglar ever came in and knew what they were talking about, they'd take the shoes because they'd be right there. They wouldn't bother with the TV or anything because they've got the Vaporflies, Skimzonates. There's about, if I'm being honest, there's probably about, if you add it all up, about 800 quid worth of shoes in my porch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd maybe need to consider moving them, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'd actually be more annoyed if a burglar took my Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s than my TV. And my Vaporflies and my Skimzonates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be more annoyed if a burglar made it into the porch, took all my shoes. Laura would be like, "Oh, that was a close shave. We got away with that." I was like, "No, we didn't. I've just lost all my shoes." Anyway, so I'm off on a tangent here.
Have a guess where I store all my shoes.
In the highest point of the house, in the attic, maybe?
No, they don't go into the attic. They don't go that far.
Somewhere warm?
They are all stored in my bedroom. And how do you think I store them?
I think I know the answer to this. Because old Obi-Wan Brett Elesmore videos, when you're doing your curtain opening ritual, and you've got Boba and Misa just, waking you up, and you see your Mickey Mouse Apple Watch waking you up, and then you do your S&C in front of about 90,000 shoe boxes.
Yeah, so all of my shoes are still stored in their box. Yeah.
The original box they came in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Impressive.
Just yeah, I don't know. I got into a habit of looking after them, and if I look after them, they'll look after me.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a healthy way to look at it, really. Because mine, you'd be absolutely disgusted if you saw the way some of my shoes were like looked after, especially when you think about it. If you're paying, I don't know, if I bought these new Alpha Flies, these 290 quid Alpha Flies, then I'd probably be like, yeah, I'd probably be sleeping in them. I'd probably be like, put them in my bed. I'd never ever want to I'd wrap them up in cotton wool, basically. So, yeah, you think about it, you spend a lot of money on your shoes. Yeah, why should you? But
what's the most you've ever spent on a pair of running shoes?
Big question. I think it's about.
Is this the true answer, or is it the answer you tell Laura?
Yeah, this is the answer I tell Laura. About £70. No, I think it's about 100 and. This is before I knew about sports shoes codes. My first marathon shoes, my Saucony Endorphin Speed 2s, I bought them on sports shoes for 160. And I think that's the most I've ever spent. Everything else I've managed to get on sale. But I'm a bit of a TK Maxx kind of guy. So I always seem to get things that are at least a season or two old. You know what I mean? They're 6 months old. So the Adios Pro 3s I got for about 130 or 40 quid or something like that. And they'd been out 6 months. The Vaporflies I got off the Nike website, 120 quid. Because they were obviously having a big clear out of them because the 3s were out any day. But yeah, I think it's probably in the region of about 150. I think it might be those Speed 2s, which ironically was one of the first pair of shoes I ever bought. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, about the same. About 160 is about the most I've spent. That was for the Adios Pro 3. I managed to get for about 160 quid. Which I was very pleased with because they had just been released and I managed to get a discount code on the Adidas website. So that was good. And the other expensive ones were the Prime X, which I ended up spending about 150 quid on. But seeing as they're 230 brand new, that's, it's a bit of a saving.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, you get what you pay for, don't you? And you think you get a really good shoe if you spend a bit of money. Well, that's not always true because I think sometimes, for example, I've never used these Asics Nova Blast 4s, but a lot of people said the 4s weren't as good as the 3s. I mean, how often do we hear that?
Yeah.
But yet the price has gone up 20 quid. So you don't always get what you pay for, but what you're actually getting is a new, you're getting marketing as well, aren't you? You're getting a new product. So of course you've got to pay premium for anything that's brand new. You're getting if you're paying, if you're getting something brand new, you're paying top dollar, aren't you? Because you can't be saying, well, I'll wait for a discount code. Yeah, you're gonna be waiting about 6 months, mate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get them Alpha Fly 3s when they come down to £100. Yeah, what, in 40 years? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Another thing I was going to mention is I've had an email today about potential, and this is a big. I don't know if we should go down this road because we have 57 minutes on the clock. Should you do hard 10Ks in a marathon training block? Because I'm on the waiting list for the Bourton on the Water, which is in the Cotswolds 10K, which is a fast road 10K. I've just been given a place because I've been on the waiting list. Do I enter? The email came through this afternoon saying I got 24 hours. What would you do? I'm free that day as well.
How long before the marathon is it? So how far into the block is it?
Also, bear in mind, March, I've got quite a few races. Some other races. So it would be week 7 of 16 of training at the end of.
Week 7 of 16, so not even halfway through.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Because I think I will do a hard 10K. If I do it, I think I will, whether I get a PB or not, I don't know. But I think it will be good for my Vieto Max. I think it'll be good to push the boat out a bit and just go for it. So, yeah, I figure why not? It's a nice part of the world, if nothing else. The Cotswolds would be quite nice to run around.
Bolton
Somewhere
on
I've
the
never
Water's
been.
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, is that the
Bolton-
place with the really shallow stream that runs through the town?
Yes.
Yeah.
And whilst you're there, you can go for a trip to Birdland and go and see the penguins, which is
That
great.
sounds
And
fun.
you can also go and be a big man in a model village.
Oh, I've been to one of those model villages before. I think it was somewhere like just one of those towns like, oh, God knows what it's called now, Biggleswade or Berkhamsted or something like that in the home counties. And there was like one of these, model villages, and it's surreal. It's really, the attention to detail is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is
Is it Hot Fuzz where he goes, if you want to be a big man in a small town, piss off to the model village?
Really? I don't know, it might be.
Brilliant.
Don't know that film well enough, but that's a great film. That's a great reference.
Yeah. But yes, I would go for it, dude. It's not even halfway through the block. You've got plenty of time to get back into the swing of marathon training afterwards. So
yeah.
I know you said you got a lot of races in March, but they won't be target races, will they? And you won't be going all out in them.
Well, let's speak too soon. Definitely marathon pace. Definitely 100% marathon pace.
Yeah,
but you can't do a 10K marathon pace, can you?
No.
Come on. But no, at the risk of getting being too honest, I'll tell you what my races are. So I've got early March. I'm going up to Nottingham to do the 10K there.
Yeah,
which is going to be quite a good race, which is going to be a hilly one. So I think that will be a good way to test myself on hills at a decent pace. So it won't be a PB attempt, but Rich, my mate Rich, who lives up there, has been saying how hilly Nottingham is. I don't really know Nottingham, so I'll just deal with that when I get there. But he says, yeah, there's a couple of something like the Park Estate is a part of Nottingham, he says about, and apparently by the castle, Nottingham Castle. So I better stop talking about it before I took myself out of it. But basically, yeah, that will be a good way to just try and charge up some hills. Week after that, I've got a wedding, so I don't like to make things easy for myself, on the Saturday, which I'm working at in Devon. So 3.5 hours before I've even got the camera out of the bag. Then we've got a 12-hour wedding day. Then drive home. Then the day after is Droitwich Half Marathon, which I've not yet signed up for, which me and you did last year.
Wow.
Which ain't easy.
You saying that, guess what I entered last night?
The Droitwich Half Marathon.
I did indeed, yes.
Yeah, good. Because that again, similar to that 10K kind of thing, it's really good to test yourself on those.
And it's a week earlier. It's a week earlier this year, which means it won't be on longest and what's the word I'm looking for? Peak mileage week.
Peak.
Yeah, it won't be on peak mileage week. It will be the week before. So I'm hoping that I can possibly push it a little bit more this year than I did last year. So we'll see, because it's the week before the peak mileage week.
So when you're pushing your peak mileage weeks, does that mean you reduce your intensity then for longer runs? For example, like you wouldn't
necessarily.
So you wouldn't race a half marathon during peak. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I did last year, but my longest run on peak week was 20 miles. So for Droitwich Half, me and you did pretty much the same. I did 3-mile warm up, raced the half, and then did 4-mile afterwards to get up to that 20-mile. Whereas this year I can go and just do it as a half marathon without having to do the extra miles around it, if you know what I mean. Because it's not on longest run of the block week. Yeah,
fair enough. Well, and then, for me, the week after, we're racing together again.
We are, yes.
Down in Gloucestershire. We're down in the Fission 20-miler, which is...
And that is my peak week.
Yeah, that'll be my first peak as well, because you're 2 weeks ahead of me, aren't you? So Manchester's 2 weeks before Newport. So yeah, that'll be good for both of us, I think.
Yeah, I'm still unsure what to do on that 20-miler, whether to try and do the whole 20 miles as marathon pace or do a bit of a session. So ease into it, do the first few mile easy,
Yeah.
then do a marathon pace block, and then do a couple of miles at the end as a warm down, rather than trying to do the whole 20 miles at marathon pace. It just seems a little bit too much as I don't know.
Well, I've never negative split anything further than a half. So let alone like I've never even come close to negative split in a marathon. So it might be good for my confidence if I do something very similar. So if I have maybe an easy 5 mile, then a steady 5 mile, and then maybe a marathon pace 10 mile. That might be a good way to race the 20 miler rather than going shit. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this? I never know. It's a bit late now, isn't it? Rather than realizing
about 10 minutes in, you called yourself a Strava wanker. So,
oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. So yeah, I don't know how to, because if I go, like I said, if you go at marathon pace and you get to, you get to 12, 13, 14 mile, hopefully a bit further than that, because I should hopefully be fit enough to do that. But I'm worried that if I get 3/4 of the way through and marathon pace is feeling bad, I feel like that might have a negative spiraling effect on the rest of my training. So I feel like if I approach it in more of a positive way, take it a bit easier, and it might actually work out like that for me on race day. And I think for me, because my target time's a lot more conservative than yours. Mine's 3:42. So obviously with a 3-hour marathon, you probably don't have a lot of wiggle room for a negative split, really, do you? Because you'll be running like a madman in the second half of the race.
Yeah.
But for me, hopefully 3:42. I mean, between me, you, and everyone listening to this podcast, I would love a 3:30. That's what I'd love. So if I can go out at about 3:35, 3:40 pace, maybe even 3:45 pace, and then slowly as we get towards the halfway point, or maybe 10 miles, start to ease into that 3:30, and hopefully bring that average pace down to 3:30. That's what the 3:30 finish. That's what I'd love to do. And we'll see.
How many marathons have you got booked or planning to do this year? Are you planning to do one at the end of the year again?
Valencia.
Ah, yes, you are. I'm willing to put money on the fact that you'll break.
Don't say it. Don't say things. Don't say things.
I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there into the big wide world, out into the public domain. I would put money on you running under 3:30 at Valencia.
Well, my watch is telling me here, my Garmin is telling me my marathon estimate's 3:25. I don't think we've got enough time to look on V.now and go through all that, but I bet you if I typed in my 5K time, which is just nearly 20 minutes, I bet you that would say something very similar, maybe even quicker, which would be about... Here we go.
What do they say? They say you take your half time, double it, and add 9 minutes. They say something like that.
135.
So 135 times 2, that's 310. 310 plus 9 minutes. So you should be running 320.
See, that to me sounds like me asking you to run a 2:15 marathon in Manchester. It just sounds so impossible, and that's what I need to change in my head, because I've got negative. The marathon is the only distance that really genuinely intimidates me, and I think I need to work out a way to fight back, because it gets under my skin. It's like the trash talk before a boxing match. Marathon beats me every time before I've even got on the start line.
Yeah. But if you take that calculation and look at it from my race, my half time is 1:21. So double that. That's 2:42. Add 9 minutes. So that's 2:51. I'm aiming for 2:55. So it's about around the right sort of area. So you should be hitting 3:30, no problem in Valencia.
Well, I hope so, because like I've said a couple of times on these episodes, I've started doing strength and conditioning, and I'm really hoping that the strength and by the way, at the moment, I've got mega DOMs. The DOMs today have been ridiculous. In my hamstrings, because I did a kettlebell session yesterday. Or no, not even that, 48 hours ago. But that's when DOMs really get you, isn't it? 2 days later.
Yeah.
And it's I just really hope that this strength and conditioning stuff I've been doing really starts to really help me out. And I know it will, but I really just hope to get the proof in the pudding, if you know what I mean. I just really hope that it does.
It will help big time. It really will.
I just hope it could be the difference between a good marathon. I want to finish strong as well. And I mean, I don't know if you remember what I was like after Manchester, but I apologize in advance now, because everyone might think of me as Mr. Nice Guy and happy smiley. After a marathon, I'm just like that scene, like Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene, you know, when he's driving from the country club to try and get back home, when he's falling out of his car, when he's like taking all those drugs. Basically, that's how I felt. I felt like incoherent. At Chester and York, I was vomiting on the side of the road on the way home. I was just a shadow of my former self. So I apologize in advance if anyone says, like your channel, mate, and I'm sick on them. So I apologize in advance.
I do remember after Manchester, I met you at the finish, and we went round to like the to where we got our bags and everything. And I was like, do you want to get a photo with your time? And you were like, yeah. It
was a queue.
We'll just have a sit down first. And I was like, okay, cool. So we sat down, and you went, I'm just going to have some of my cookies and my Coke. And you had about a sip of your Coke and a bite of a cookie, and went, I'm not really, not enjoying this. And I went, do you want to go and get your photo? And you went, do you mind if we don't? I'm not feeling great. And I was like, that's perfectly fine, mate. And whatever you want to do. And you were like, I just want to go home.
I remember we were walking to the metro, and I was trying to get an Uber. There's about 80,000 people on the streets of Manchester, and I was like, I need an Uber. I can't get the metro. I can't even spell metro. I need an Uber. I need to get in a car.
I was just trying to strike up conversation constantly, and you were going, I'm really sorry. I'm not very talkative at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not being very good company here. So, yeah. We can laugh now, but at the time, I was wrecked. Marathons, though, I don't know if that, I mean, it could be a plethora of reasons why I was like I was, but they just ruin me. They absolutely destroy me. Yeah. And it seems to be the adrenaline just leaves my body within a few minutes of me crossing that line. And then I just don't want to party anymore. Have you ever been at a party or, when you're in your more wilder days and all of a sudden you just want to go home? You've had enough. And you realize that home is a very long way away. And like all your friends are having a great time, and they're like, "Come on, have one more." You're like, "No, I just want to go home. I've had enough now." That's exactly how I feel after a marathon.
Yeah. Although, I think I was just on a massive high from hitting that target I wanted, because I've had terrible moments after marathons. I remember one year at London, it was really hot. And I'm sure I got sunstroke whilst I was running the marathon. And I finished the marathon, managed to get into Horse Guards Parade, where we were meeting the charity I run for. And I ended up sitting against a fence, curled up into a ball with my head between my legs, and sat there for an hour, just feeling like absolute crap. I didn't move an inch. I couldn't take on water, couldn't take on food, just curled up into a ball. And just stayed there until I had the ability to move.
My biggest problem, and to some degree, everyone will probably know how this feels if they've been like absolutely smashed, like at their head on too much to drink. But my biggest problem is I don't ever want to be sick. A bit like my and if I can avoid it, I will.
Yes, same here.
So I would like you. I would sit with my head in my hands for an hour, a week, a year, however long it takes, as long as it avoids me having to be sick. And you know how much better you feel when you're sick, because you feel so much better, don't you? But try telling yourself that.
I hate being sick. I hate being sick. It's disgusting. The feeling of being sick is horrendous. I know, yes, you probably do feel better afterwards, but yeah, I'll do anything not to be sick.
And that's how I was feeling. Gradually got worse after Manchester. On the metro, I must have looked like some sort of like meth head or something. I must have looked like an addict on the way, because I was literally had my hood over my head, like trying to I had sunglasses on, trying to like not like get rid of any daylight, and I was just sat and I was like basically shivering, and I was just like, don't be sick, don't swallow too many times, because that means you're going to be sick. Okay, we're going to swallow one more time, oh god, I'm going to be sick, and then all of a sudden it's my stop, and then I made it, and then I saw Laura, we got in the car, and then I think I was sick on the way home. But yeah, it's the worst feeling, isn't it?
Are you sure the hood and glasses weren't so nobody would come up and go, really like your channel, mate, whilst you were feeling like that?
Really like your channel, mate. Yeah, exactly. I think I was incognito.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's one of those things, isn't it? You finish a big marathon, and you know, sometimes you're not in the mood. If everyone wants to, like, people want to come and chat to you, and sometimes it's like if the race didn't go well for you, you could be literally in a mood.
Yeah.
And you might be like, I just don't want to talk to anyone. I've completely messed that up, and it's my own fault, and I've got no one else to blame. I'm just in a mood. I want to go home. So yeah, I apologize in advance if I ever come across very rude. I'm not a rude person. It's just that I have I'm either feeling sick or I've messed up my race. It's one of those two things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be smiling.
I'm either feeling sick or I've done a massive positive split.
Basically sums up my running life. Anything else, and I'll be smiling like this. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's basically summing me up in a couple of words, the way you just said it. So I was going to say as well, because we could go on. You go.
It just popped into my head. Like, feeling sick isn't the only problem after a marathon as well. I remember, like, the first couple of marathons I did, because I didn't understand nutrition at all. I basically, instead of using the water on the course, I had the London Marathon sponsored by Lucozade. So they have water stops, but they also have Lucozade Sport stops. Yeah. So I ignored all the water stations and just took on Lucozade Sport, because I was like, it's energy. It's going to help you.
And had you trained the last 6 months with it? 4 months with it?
I trained with Lucozade Sport, yes.
Oh, okay.
Not the volume of Lucozade Sport that I took on during the marathon.
Not 14 pints.
Yeah. Along with all of the energy jellies I was taking. And I basically just made a massive concoction in my stomach, which was completely empty before the race, and then just filled it with Lucozade and energy jellies and shook it up like a bartender making a cocktail for 26.2 miles. And then at the end it was let's get to that Portaloo as quickly as possible, because this isn't going to end well if I don't.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of all sympathise and relate to that, because I think we all know how that feels when you've got some, let's just say, tummy troubles.
Yep, definitely.
So the last thing I was going to say on my little itinerary, I'm going to have a tactical cough. Hang on. Was plateauing. So I feel lately, and I guess this is a realization of a runner who's kind of, it's gone from, oh, this is quite fun, yeah, we'll go out for a run, to, okay, I'm getting quite serious about this now. is I'm starting to notice how difficult it is to get anywhere near, let alone get PBs. So it's kind of taken me 4 years to get to this point where I could, especially parkrun, I could quite, I wouldn't say easily, but I could do a parkrun and then, oh, it's got a PB there. I wasn't even going for one. And now I'm going for them and I'm not getting anywhere near them. So it's a strange place to find yourself, and it's a bit of a wake up call. But again, I'm quite glad that I'm having these realizations, because I think it will make me a better runner. It will make me slightly, like I'm doing speed sessions and pyramids and progression sessions and stuff. I'm not just running at one pace. I'm starting to realize these things. So I'm starting to change the way I train slightly. But I don't know if you've ever felt like that. Does the plateau does it constantly move, or does it? Well, progress is never linear, is it? That's what they say.
And the thing is, running's hard. It's not easy. And when you are running a bit slower, when you first get into running, you are jogging most of the time. So when you go down to parkrun, you run a bit faster than you jog, and you go, "Oh, I've got a PB." And the next time you go down, you run a bit faster than you've been jogging again, and you get another PB. And that happens quite a lot. But then when you start to take it seriously and you're pushing yourself, that's when you are talking about those fine lines, and it gets harder and harder to hit those targets and those PBs that you've started to accrue. Because I mean, last year I hit a couple of PBs, but I didn't take much off them. And my half marathon, I didn't even. I didn't even. That's a terrible way to put it. But I didn't PB. But I knew that there was no way I was going to PB in every distance. I mean, I set myself targets in every distance, but there's no way I was going to PB in every distance. So the fact I did PB in some of them was fantastic, and I'll take the losses on the ones that I didn't. Because you can't always get everything every time, and you're not always going to improve year on year exactly how you want to and exactly how you did the previous year.
Do you find that your focus changes on different distances as well? So you can keep going for this half marathon distance and you keep coming up short, but you absolutely obliterate, let's just say, your marathon PB, or so you say you don't always get the 5K, 10K half marathon PBs that let's face it, a lot of us want to get every year or every few months or whatever, 6 months or whatever. Do you ever find that, I'm feeling really good at a certain distance today, rather than everything seems to be moving in the same direction? Some distances become
but
easier.
And the thing is, training for different distances is very different. Training for a 5K is very different to training for a marathon, and very different to training for a half marathon.
So do you think, say, Jakob Ingebrigtsen could run a marathon?
He could run a marathon, but he wouldn't be one of the top. I think he wouldn't be anywhere close to the best marathon runners. Because
so would his volume be similar to yours? Would it be 60, 70 mile a week at a 5K? Because what's his event? 5K, 3,000?
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing with Jakob. I find it very interesting, and the fact he has a lot of back and forth with people, especially Josh Kerr. His interaction with Josh Kerr recently is very interesting. I love Josh Kerr. I think he's a great runner, and he's great for the sport because he's a really big personality.
This is the guy that did him in the final straight at the World Champs.
He's the Scottish guy, the British athlete who won the World Championship 1,500 meters and
Brilliant
beat Jakob. It was fantastic, and he basically did it exactly the same way as Jake Whiteman did the year before, which made it even better. But Jakob always goes on. Where was I? I've completely lost my thing.
He had a back and forth with Josh Kerr.
Yeah. What were we saying before that?
That people.
What is his event? And Jakob is desperate to be a 1500 meter runner. That's what he wants to be. But he's amazing at the 5,000 meters. So he's amazing at the 5K. He can beat anyone at 5K, but he doesn't want to be a 5K runner. That just because of his training style, he's good at the 5K. He wants to be a 1500 meter runner. And he's been beaten twice, 2 years in a row at the World Championships. And he's very salty about it. And he will, and he says really snide comments about things. And he says how 9 times out of 10, I'd beat Josh Kerr in a 1500 meters. And he possibly would 9 times out of 10 beat Josh Kerr in a 1500 meters. But on the day it counted, on the race it counted, Josh Kerr beat him. And he's world champion.
Jakob was ill that day, though, wasn't he?
Oh, come on! What a poor excuse to bring excuses out like that.
Didn't he say he had a bit of a sniffle? So
he was so ill. He came out the next day and won the 5,000 meters. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Ill. So it's just excuses and excuses. It's like Josh Kerr just broke the indoor world record for the 2 mile. He did it in just over 8 minutes. It was like 8 minutes, 0.5 seconds. And Jakob's response to that was, well, I could have beat Josh in that race with a blindfold on. And okay, yes, Jakob Ingebrigtsen last year at the Diamond League ran 7:45. No, sorry, 7:55 for 2 mile. So he was like 5-6 seconds faster than Josh Kerr's just run. But it was outdoor and on a different type of course because indoor tracks are only 200 meters. So it's much tighter. You're constantly turning rather than an outdoor track where it's got a longer straight. So yes, he did run faster than him, but it was on a different type of course. And he's just being really salty because when he broke the world record and ran that 2 miles, he was saying how he was the best in the world and no one's better than him. And then someone else comes out and does one of his rivals comes out and does a world record and he's like, yeah, I could have beat him with a blindfold on. He's an interesting guy, Jakob. He's such a talented runner and there's no doubt he will go down as one of the greatest, but he needs to be a bit more humble, in my opinion. He's a bit too salty when things don't go his way. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the best is yet to come from him, or do you think he's at his pomp? He's in his sort of his peak?
Oh no, I think he's still got loads to come. Yeah, definitely.
He's a good athlete, isn't he? To be fair,
but he's been out injured, so he's not doing any. I don't think he's doing any races properly now until the Olympics.
Yeah, which will be good. Which actually leads us on nicely to something that we wanted to talk about, wasn't it?
Yes.
So the Olympics in Paris, the one race that we were all mega excited for was the head-to-head marathon of Kipchoge and Kelvin Kiptum. So I'm sure you guys have heard the news that earlier this week, Kelvin Kiptum died along with his coach in Kenya, which is terribly, terribly sad. And I've just done a little bit of, just to scratch the surface, a bit of research on him. And he hasn't been around a long time. He's burst onto the scene, hasn't he? He's literally raced three marathons.
Yeah.
He's won them all.
And all 3 of those marathons are in the top 6 marathon times ever.
Yeah. So here we go. I just want to read a couple of things here. Kiptum ran the fastest ever marathon debut at the 2022 Valencia Marathon, becoming only the 3rd man in history to break 2 hours and 2 minutes and setting the then 4th quickest time ever. He followed it up 4 months later with the 2nd fastest marathon in history in London at 2:01:25 seconds, 16 seconds outside the world record. And I've never raced London, but I'm sure, Brett, you'll agree. That's pretty mental, isn't it, to get near a world record at London?
It's incredible. It's not the type of course that you would be able to, get world records and stuff. So it's incredible. And the speed he ran past me when I was down there watching last year.
Oh God, I forgot you saw him in person.
Yeah, he was
wow.
absolutely flying.
Oh, that's incredible. It says in his next race, we all know what happened in 2023, Chicago Marathon, 6 months later. I mean, this is in such a short time period as well. The 2023 Chicago Marathon, 6 months later in October 23, he broke the world record by 34 seconds. I mean, that's not even close, is it? That's with a time of 2 hours and 35 seconds. A mark ratified on the 6th of February 2024, 5 days before his death. So, yeah, very, very sad because
it's a massive loss for the running community and running, just full stop.
Yeah,
he was a massive talent that I don't think we'd even seen the tip of the iceberg yet of what he was going to be capable of. I think everybody who was watching his career, I think we all knew that at some point he would break 2 hours. Just when would that be? And unfortunately, we'll never get to know whether he could break 2 hours. But the thing that I was looking forward to most was the showdown with the GOAT.
That would have been one hell of a race. And it said here that he wasn't around. Well, it doesn't say this here, but he wasn't around for a long time. But he's really made his mark with those races. And not only that, but his approach to training, because this is borderline superhuman, really. He was running, he's logging between, on the lead up to London, let alone what he was running Chicago, 250 to 280k a week, which is 155 to 173 miles per week. And that is that volume that none of us have ever seen before in training. Like, that's pretty rare, isn't it?
It's mental. That's ridiculous amounts.
It's I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily the answer, because it's maybe a fast track to injury, but his body obviously could cope with it. I mean, he's a young lad. He's 24. Yeah. Apparently he was married, had 2 kids, but he was 24. Just recently celebrated his 24th birthday. So incredibly, incredibly sad. Yeah. But
it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we don't finish on a down note, and it's probably a little bit inappropriate to say it's time for Brett's end of the podcast quiz. I'll try and say that in a less, slightly less insensitive way, because of what we've just been dealing with. So we've got 5 questions as usual, Brett. These are general knowledge.
Excellent.
But there's a connection. Can you find the connection? So this time, I'm not going to tell you, like a quiz in a pub, I'm not going to tell you if you've got the answer right.
Oh, okay.
So I will give you approximately 10 seconds each time to write down your answers. Question 1. In Coronation Street...
Oh, come on.
What is the name of the pub?
Oh, okay. I know that. Yeah. Only because I saw it probably 20 years ago.
Go on. You can speculate on what you think the answer is.
So it's the Rover's Return.
Okay, well, yeah, that's correct. Okay, question.
I'm not going to tell you whether you've got the answer right. Oh, that's correct. Yes,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, everyone knows that's correct. Question number 2. In 1664, New York City came under English rule, but what was it previously named?
York? Old York?
Old York. So, yeah, I'll let you have a little think about that. I'll give you a clue. It's very themed because it was originally by European settlers. So it was called a place that is in Europe. But then the English came. We do what we do best. We took over, we kicked everyone out, and we renamed it. It's in New York. So what was it? What was it called?
God knows.
Any ideas?
No.
Okay. Question 3. Inside In, Inside Out was the debut album for which indie band in 2006?
Inside In, Inside Out. Indie band.
Yep.
I mean, 2006.
Yep. Well, I'll leave you to think about that one. Question
Yeah.
4. A little bit of a controversial one here. I've had to get all these questions. By the way, it's so hard to look for questions when you know the answers first. Then you have to look for trivia related. So this is literally the only one I could find. This is
we need Jeopardy instead, then, don't we? Where the answer is a question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's the question? So, what royal title does Prince Andrew hold? It's not a comedy answer.
Prince Andrew.
He's been removed of his royal duties or relieved of his royal duties, but he still holds a royal title.
Oh, yes. Is it?
Go on, you can speculate because you can say what you think it might be.
I'm trying to think because his ex-wife is Fergie, isn't it? Who
Correct.
is Duchess of York? So that would make him Duke of York. No?
Oh, I'll tell you after.
Oh, okay. Who had 10,000 men, marched them up to the top of the hill and marched them down again.
When they're up, they're up. Okay.
And when they were down, they were down.
And when they're only halfway up?
They were neither.
Up nor down. Question number 5. Where would you be from if you were known as a Cestrian?
Is that spelt with an S or a C?
Cestrian. So question 1. In Coronation Street, what is the name of the pub?
Rover's Return.
That is correct. Question 2. In 1664, New York City came under English rule, but what was it previously named? Have you ever seen Gangs of New York with Daniel Day-Lewis and Leonardo?
I have, yes.
Do you remember a scene when Leonardo first meets Bill the Butcher in a bar?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "What's your name, son?" And he tells him his name is Amsterdam because he doesn't want to tell him his real name. And he says, "I'm New York." That's what he says, as if to say, "I'm the new kid around here." So the answer is New Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah, so it used to be called New Amsterdam. Question 3.
What I remember from that film as well is it was the first time I saw Elliot as an adult.
I can't believe that's him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the weird sort of infatuation with Cameron Diaz, isn't he? Is that the actor? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Inside In, Inside Out was the debut album for which indie band in 2006? I think the mid-noughties wasn't actually a bad couple of years for indie music. So you could have.
I wasn't a big indie fan.
All right.
So I'm trying to think who it could have been.
Their songs included "She Moves in Her Own Way" and "Naive."
Oh, the Kooks.
Correct. It's the Kooks. Question 4. What royal title does Prince Andrew hold?
Duke of York.
That is correct.
Yes.
And question 5. Where would you be from if you were known as a Cestrian? And looking at your answers, have you got some sort of connection yet? Mate, 1 hour 39. 1 hour 38 we're at. I just seen the clock. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry that you've had to do an extra 10K to listen to us on your long run. But we're grateful. We're very grateful. Maybe you've got the connection already if you're listening to this. Shall I give you a clue? The connection is geographical.
No, I haven't got this at all.
Do you know where Coronation Street is based? What city?
Is it up in Manchester? No. Yes?
Correct.
Yes.
Question 2, the answer was New Amsterdam. Question 3.
They're all places that have marathons.
Specifically, the Kooks are from which city?
Where did you do your marathon at the end of last year? They're all marathons you've done, and it's Manchester, Amsterdam, York, Valencia.
No, the Valencia.
As in the Cestrian one.
No, Cestrian is, think about it, and you get process of elimination. Because if you get the Kooks one, you'll know that they are from the southern England city by the sea. Their football team are called
Brighton.
The Seagulls.
They're from Brighton. That's
which
very
means
good. Yes.
Which means Cestrians are from.
Marathon. And what was the other one you did? It is the one that is at the end of the year where it's got a big uphill towards the end, and it is. Oh, come on, Brett.
The infamous mile 25 marker sits at the top of the hill. Allegedly, you are illegally allowed to shoot a Welshman after midnight on a Sunday in this city because of the ancient laws.
Oh, man, come on. Why can I not think of it? I've known loads of people who have run this one.
Apparently, it's got the biggest Roman amphitheatre in the country. Its history is like vast, goes back a long, long way.
Oh, come on, put me out of my misery. I can't remember. Give me the first letter.
C. It sounds like, you can see where they've got the word Cestrian from.
No, it's gone. Go on,
Come
put
on.
me out of my misery.
Starts on a race course. The town of Hollyoaks. It's the second syllable in the marathon that you're doing. Or the second and third syllable in the marathon you're doing in April. Have you got it?
Chester.
There he is. He's got it. There we go.
As if that took that long. I just had a proper brain fart then. Man.
That was quite tough. That wasn't easy. We've set a new record.
Yes, we have.
Guys, I'm so sorry. That's mad, isn't it? 142.
Yeah, just light the touch paper and let us go.
Yeah. I can't believe that some people will have done their Sunday long run within this time that they've listened to their.
I know, but they'll have to take us out for 2 long runs.
Yeah. Oh well, thank you everybody so much for listening. I've really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's been good fun.
It's been good.
Yes, thank you so much to everybody that is still listening right now. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in each week. The amount of views on YouTube and listens on all the podcast apps is, it's phenomenal. We really do appreciate it. Having us chattering down your ears for an hour and 40 minutes or just over an hour and 40 minutes today is going to be interesting to see how many of you listen all the way through and manage to get to the end. But yeah, we really do appreciate it.
I've literally written Kelvin Kipton, Plateau, Bourton on the Water, cleaning shoes. And then end of the podcast quiz. I'm looking at it thinking we could probably do 45 minutes today, maybe 50.
Yeah.
We could probably get inside an hour. Here we are, 1:43, still going. Stinker.
Anyway,
It took you about 2 hours. It took you about an hour to get Chester.
Well, that's why it's so long. We were going to be on an hour, but
at least you know what. At least you know what a cestrian is now.
Exactly. Yeah. Very
Someone
good.
from Valencia.
So, which one of your marathons is missing from that?
No, that's it. That's the 5 I've done.
Have you only ever done 5?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. My next one is my 6. Newport's my 6.
Oh, okay.
No. So it's I've only done each one of those once, and then I've got Newport and lucky number 7, Valencia in December.
Yes. Yeah. When you break that 3:30.
We'll have a chat on November the 30th about it.
Yeah, and on that note, knowing that Andy is going to break 3:30 in Valencia, we shall call it there and say thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, it's been fun. See you soon, guys.
Cheers, guys.